Hey you, and welcome to Happy Sex Ed! Today we are going to watch Gilmore Girls. Now if you know the show, you may wonder, well, this show is not very sexual, what are you going to analyze? But actually, even in Gilmore Girls, there is a lot regarding sexuality and gender identity that we can talk about. And because now it's getting a little bit cooler, the fall vibes are starting and everyone is starting to watch Gilmore Girls again, I thought this is a perfect time to look into how gender and sexuality is portrayed in this show. As always, we are going to only watch the first episode of the first season to get a little bit of an idea of how things are portrayed. However, I've actually noticed that Gilmore Girls has so much to offer. I was kind of watching continuously because I love the show, and then I noticed that there is actually a lot to uncover. So in case you do enjoy this video and you want to see a part 2, let me know in the comments and we're definitely gonna do one. This video is dedicated to the love of my life, the person I always watch Gilmore Girls with. I love you so much, and let's jump right in.
Hey, you mind if I sit down?
Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm meeting someone, so
I'm Joey.
Okay.
What, you don't have a name?
No, I do have a name. I'm really meeting someone, so.
So I guess I should get going.
Now, what we see happening in the first scene is actually very typical. So, Lorelai clearly tells the guy that she does not want him to sit down, but he does anyway. Further, his comment, "What, you don't have a name?" is quite rude and almost manipulative. The reason why this scene still seems very harmless is the fact that we have this lovely, warm lighting, as well as Lorelai smiling and laughing and kind of using humor as a way to cope with the situation. If we would see this scene in a dark alleyway and instead of a smile we would see fear on Lorelai's face, this would be really creepy. And just because it's happening in a public cozy cafe doesn't make it less problematic. Clearly, Lorelai's boundary is being violated here, and the guy is not respecting what she's telling him. Also, what we see here is something very typical. Female presenting people who are being approached in ways that they don't appreciate oftentimes use humor to kind of de-escalate and stay in power in a situation where they don't feel confident. Now, of course, this makes the whole scene look more harmless from the outside because you may think that the person is enjoying themselves. However, oftentimes it is a mechanism to cope with a situation that's very uncomfortable. This may not always be the case. It also can be a friendly encounter. However, in this case, it's pretty clear that it's not, because Lorelai clearly says no, and the guy is not respecting her no.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. You really like my table, don't you?
I was just,
Getting to know my daughter.
You do not look old enough to have a daughter. No, I mean it. And you do not look like a daughter.
That's possibly very sweet of you. Thanks.
So, daughter. You know, I am traveling with a friend.
She's 16.
Bye.
Drive safe.
Notice how Lorelai told the guys she's 16, and this is what made them go away. Not just saying, guys, we're not really in the mood, guys, we don't want to. It had to be an external factor, because clearly what they want is not being validated very much.
Maybe it's a love letter. Or her diary. Could be a slam book. It's the assignment.
Now this scene is kind of representative of many other scenes to come. Rory is always portrayed as the girl that's different from other girls, as the odd one out, the one that does it differently. She's the one that has academic aspirations, she's smart, she knows what she wants, and she is portrayed with depth. Other girls are often portrayed more as a homogeneous mass, as being more interested in boys, as being more interested in shallow things, and Rory is the one that is really like the good girl. On the one hand, this of course sheds a really bad light on girls in general, because usually when a girl has depth, she's portrayed as different, she's portrayed as special, which if you think about it is quite misogynistic because it portrays the other girls as less. At the same time, notice how Rory is also portrayed this way because she is portrayed as non-sexual. She's portrayed as very pure, very innocent, and not interested in boys yet whatsoever. And this is shown until she meets Dean. But that's something we're going to see in a little bit.
My parents set me up with the son of a business associate. He's going to be a doctor. How old is he? 16?
So he's gonna be a doctor in 100 years.
Well, my parents like to plan ahead.
So, how was school? None of the girls get pregnant, drop out?
Not that we know of.
Though come to think of it, Joanna Posner was glowing a little.
What?
Nothing, Mama. She's just kidding.
Boys don't like funny girls.
Noted.
Now, you may wonder why I'm showing you scenes of Rory's best friend Lane and her mom, because what does that have to do with sexuality? Well, Lane and her mom, especially her mom, are being portrayed in an incredibly stereotypical way. And since identity and culture are not separable from sexual identity, this is actually an interesting thing to look into. If there is a cultural stereotype, there's also a sexual stereotype. And in this case, the cultural stereotype is very, very suppressed sexuality and in general a very, very restricted life. And this is what Lane experiences. Her mom basically doesn't allow her to do anything that she wants to do. And this also plays into a very restricted sexual stereotype. As soon as someone is portrayed as being very different, then there's also the risk of them being sexualized for that otherness and exoticized. And definitely the portrayal of Lane's mom contributes significantly to that stereotype. Now you may wonder, what is the difference between a respectful cultural portrayal and a stereotype? Well, a stereotype is when things are just very over the top. They are not really written as being a complex character, but more as serving a certain purpose. And in this case, Lane's mom is doing exactly that. She is just there to restrict Lane in any way possible. A respectful portrayal of Korean culture would have maybe looked like Rory coming over and enjoying some amazing Korean food, or them celebrating a Korean holiday together and Rory being really curious what that could look like. Maybe there could have been a scene where Rory is trying to learn some Korean words because she has some actual interest in the culture, but this is very much not the case. It is almost painful to watch the complete lack of interest that is shown regarding Korean culture. Korean culture in this show, unfortunately, is really only used to make Lane seem as restricted as possible.
Chilton School. Rory got in. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I know. Look, dear Ms. Gilmore, we are happy to inform you that we have a vacancy at Chilton Preparatory starting immediately. Due to your daughter's excellent credentials and your enthusiastic pursuit of her enrollment, I offered to do the principal to get her in. We would be happy to accept her as soon as the first semester's tuition has been received.
You're happy.
Yeah,
Did you do something slutty?
I'm not that happy.
Now, this is just a really short little scene, but it actually has a powerful message. Lorelai clearly associates sex with happiness, and so does Rory. When her mother has had sex, she's happy, and that's something that Rory knows. And that is actually a really, really healthy portrayal of sexuality. Also, it goes away from the stereotype that single moms should not be sexual and just dedicate their entire life to their kids. So this is actually very refreshing. Also, the word slutty is more used to be making fun of it, not really as an actual insult. So the whole scene is just very refreshing.
I'm Dean. Hi. Oh, Rory, me. That's me. I'm not sure I want to go to Chilton.
What? This is about a boy. Of course. I can't believe I didn't see it. All this talk about money and bus rides. You got a thing going with a guy and you don't want to leave school. Really? Someone willing to throw important life experiences out the window to be with a guy?
Now, the whole Dean situation is really interesting because it tells us something very specific. Attraction, romance, and sexuality for a girl is not compatible with success. As soon as Dean steps into the picture and Rory's sexuality and attraction awakes, all of a sudden her entire career and her going to this private school is at risk. And this portrayal is incredibly typical for the early 2000 shows. If a girl is sexual or romantically interested, she is not going to make it. Now notice how that is very much not the case for people who are read as male. The male presenting figures of shows usually never have this dilemma. They can be the quarterback and get all the pretty girls. However, for women, it's just not the same. So we see a big double standard there. Also notice how this portrays female sexuality and women in general in a very binary way. You may be sexual and then live a life according to that with less success and a different path, or you can be non-sexual and then you have a chance at having success, a career, in a more academic path. Those two don't mix, and it actually doesn't make sense that they don't mix, because you can be sexual and successful, of course, but we don't really see that portrayed, especially not in the early 2000s. Also notice again how Rory and Lorelai are portrayed a little bit in the contrary. Lorelai is very interested in sex. She loves to flirt. She loves to get attention from guys. And she had a baby at 16. Rory's, on the other hand, so far has never been shown like that. And she has been the academic type. So we see the contrasts here.
And how are things at the motel?
The inn? They're great.
Lorelai's the executive manager now. Isn't that wonderful?
Speaking of which, Christopher called yesterday.
Speaking of which? How is that a speaking of which?
He's doing very well in California. His internet startup goes public next month. This could mean big things for him. Very talented man, your father.
She knows.
He always was a smart one, that boy. You must take after him.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna get a Coke.
Now, isn't it interesting how Lorelai's parents really like Christopher while they have major problems with her? This, I think, is also the result of some double standards. Even though Christopher was the one who left the family to do his own thing, he is still seen very positively. His success is celebrated, whereas Lorelai's success is frequently downplayed. And the fact that she stayed and took care of Rory is seen as nothing more than just normal. I do believe that this illustrates very well how men and women are often seen when it comes to taking care of a child. From a woman, that's expected. From a man, well, if he does it, it's great, but if he doesn't, who can blame him? Notice also that language really matters here. Single mom is often used as an insult for women, whereas what it implies is that the dad left. However, there is no word describing that as an insult. And this has been really interesting because it actually works this way with many words. Notice how daddy issues is a derogatory word to use for women who had problems with their father. However, the father is the one who failed, not the woman.
Coffee, fries. I can't stand it. This is so unhealthy. Rory, please, put down that cup of coffee. You do not want to grow up to be like your mom.
Sorry. Too late.
What this show does beautifully here is showing that having a baby at 16 or not conforming with societal norms is not the end of the world. Lorelai is seen as having failed in that regard, but still having stepped up, and she built a life for her and her daughter independently. She's portrayed as strong, as confident, and as a real role model, as someone who really gets her daughter and is her best friend. So this portrayal is very refreshing. She has not failed. Things worked out for her. And she always stayed true to herself. Now we have slowly come to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope that, I wanted to remind you in the beginning to grab a coffee with me, but I forgot. Well, maybe you did it anyway. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some cozy fall vibes out of it and you found it interesting. If you did, consider giving me a like or a comment and let me know what you want to see next. I'm really looking forward to see you next time, and I'm gonna see you soon. Bye!